government officials to turn our dreams into a reality. Our work for this treaty is in memory of all those we loved. Our work is to prevent the ultimate evil of nuclear violence. The story told in this book is about people coming together across the divide of diplomacy and activism to achieve something of lasting importance. Our experiences, hopefully, offer lessons to those wanting to make positive change in the world. And at the same time, we in the anti-nuclear movement continue to learn from others who work for human rights, social justice, and ecological protection. I am immensely grateful to Ray Acheson for her scholarship, leadership, and activism. In recounting what we have achieved and how we achieved it, Ray provides courage and inspiration to change makers across the world who confront the many challenges that face us in our time. For we are, as this book demonstrates, all part of the global movement for peace and nonviolence. This goes beyond the atomic bomb. Our movement is about justice, equality, and care for all. The principles of feminism and anti-racism expressed in this telling of the story to ban the bomb provide touchstones for what is necessary to guide us out of the dark night of nuclear terror. As I said in Oslo in 2017, when accepting the Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, no matter what obstacles we face, we will keep moving and keep pushing and keep sharing this light with others. This is our passion and commitment for our one precious world to survive. Preface. Since the final manuscript of this book was submitted to print, incredible achievements have been made in advancing the legal and normative force of the UN Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, TPNW. On October 24, 2020, just over 3 years after it opened for signature, the treaty reached the 50 national ratifications needed to become international law, setting the TPNW up to enter into force 90 days later, on January 22, 2021. This milestone was reached on United Nations Day, which marks the 75th anniversary of the UN Charter. The very first resolution of the UN General Assembly called for the elimination of nuclear weapons, making it particularly serendipitous that UN Day would see the ratification of a global agreement that prohibits these weapons. The year 2020 was also the 75th anniversary of the first nuclear weapon test explosion in New Mexico and the horrific atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, all conducted by the United States. Securing these 50 ratifications in the midst of a global pandemic is a historic moment for nuclear abolition. The adoption of the TPNW and the achievement of its entry into force shows us what happens when those committed to multilateralism and transnational activism work together to change the world. As a result of these efforts, nuclear weapons will be unlawful to possess, develop, deploy, test, use, or even threaten to use for TPNW states parties. The treaty puts nuclear weapons on the same legal footing as biological and chemical weapons, and as landmines and cluster munitions, and advances and reinforces international customary law and norms against nuclear weapons. Although much work remains to achieve the elimination of nuclear weapons, their prohibition is crucial. The majority of the world's countries support the TPNW. 122 states voted for its adoption in 2017. Since then, governments from around the world, particularly Latin America and the Caribbean, Southeast Asia, the Pacific, and Africa, have signed and ratified the treaty. Some critics say that the treaty is irrelevant because none of the countries that have joined so far possess nuclear bombs. But that doesn't matter right now. Over time, as described in this book, the treaty will have a normative impact on the behavior of other countries, regardless of whether they join, and on financial institutions and other national and local actors. The changes that the nuclear ban brings to law, politics,